Now this is like a continuation from the last tape here. Now as I look through this batch of props, I look for a nice straight grain, and there's 3 or 4 of them that have nice straight grain and the blades are both even. So I try to select out. This one looks pretty decent. This one has 2 different grains. That one's gone. This one looks pretty nice. And what you do is, you'll notice every once in a while, and I just happen to find one in this batch, I didn't pre-plan this, you'll find one that has exceptionally straight grain through the whole prop. And you can see that one is usually about twice as stiff as the ones that aren't, that are kind of A-grainy. And it kind of looks, to look at it, it's kind of a C-grainy thing. But I'm checking each one. I really only want to make one prop up today. So I want to say maybe I'll take that C-grain one. But some of them you can feel one blade bends a lot more than the other. And you could do this just by hand. You don't even... Carbon fiber blades, by the way, bend too. Even though they feel stiff at the root, grab them at the hub, at the tip. They always feel flimsy out at the tip. That's been one misunderstanding about that I've run into, is people tell me, oh, carbon props are so stiff. Yeah, they're stiff right here where my thumb is, but they're not stiff out here. You can bend them like a pretzel, especially when you thin them out. So anyway, out of this group, I found one that has a real nice even grain, that kind of a C-grainy look. Now I'm going to get the blades cut perfectly even. We're going to go for, since we've been playing with this, 12.5 has been like the middle of the road prop. I'm going to try to make this 12 5/8, hoping that the material I can get off will make the blades the same weight, and plus I'll have a little more diameter, so I'll get the same load as if I had 12.5-inch blades, but I'll have 12 5/8 blades. That'll be the theory anyway. Okay, first step is I want to make sure I have these blades. I want exactly 12 5/8, and I want the blade tips to be exactly, the cutoff parts be exactly equal. Now I can check with my gauge here. I'm putting the prop on here. I can set this on here, and I can check that I have, as I swing the other blade into position. Now you've seen this already on a video a million times. I just want to reiterate, if you're going to do especially an undercambered prop, get it real accurate to begin with, because those tips are going to get very thin after you do all the carving and sanding. Any undercambered prop should be very accurate at this point. Now I'll take the finish off and balance it off camera. Just some acetone on a paper towel, and you can, on any rev-up prop, you can wipe the finish right off. The next step is I want to get the wood. This one was pretty good. I'm amazed. Get the wood itself balanced by taking some. At this point in time, only take the material off the back of the blade with a little sanding block like that, until you get the prop in perfect balance in wood before you start carving in anything. Now after the prop's been balanced, what I want to do is I want to take the prop from an upside down position and take the trailing edge and bring it in. Like a little bit of a Phillips entry. What this does, it gives you a little bit sharper leading edge. It'll definitely result in a little extra drive. If you take 2 of these props to the field, one Phillips entry and one not Phillips entry, what you're going to find out is the one with the Phillips entry drives a lot better. So I'm taking the bottom of the prop and bringing it to the leading edge, then I'm turning the prop over and taking the top and bringing it to the trailing edge. Nice sharp edges, but not razor blades. This is especially true if you have a zinger, if you see some of the edges on a zinger. And of course, every step of the way, keep the prop in balance. And I just want to show on a macro lens, you see how I've sanded this edge up and this edge down, and you get a little idea of the cross section. Now I'm going to go with the Dremel tool and take out the undercamber material here. The best tool for this is just a plain old sanding drum. Takes a little patience. Don't take a lot out at once. Kind of feel with both hands that you have enough on each blade. Now, Ski Dombrowski used to do this all by hand. Very time consuming, but he did a nice job having it all done by hand. And you really can feel it. Hey, lucky guess. Now you can see this is almost in balance. Now I'm going to take and do the rest of this by hand with some 60 or 80 grit paper. Oh, what's good here is like a piece of broomstick or dowel. Take that sticky back sandpaper. This is 180, and this gives you a nice little tool to final sand in that undercamber. And if you go through each step of the way, check the balance. You don't want to make the blades paper thin. Maybe the first couple of props you do, you might want to take them to a test bench and just make sure you haven't made the blades too thin. Or before you actually put it on an aeroplane. And pretty common sense would tell you there's a point of no return. A couple hours now by hand, and we won't put all this on camera. This is going to take a lot of handwork to get these even. If anybody wants one of these props, I make them for 30 bucks. They generally work on 60s. And if you send me the paint, I'll even paint it to match your plane. I always like having the props painted. Now you can see what the thinness of the blade is right now with that sanded right in there.
Golden rule number one is I'm missing a part here, so maybe I need an answer.
Now as you finalize this, you'll see it'll become like a spoon almost. Just constantly check the balance, and I've gone to 220 paper now. Finalize the finish. A couple of different size dowels, a broomstick would probably work good. Then I'll final sand the whole thing, making sure each step of the way I keep it in balance. And then I'll get a coat of red paint on it. So. Now I just gave this one coat of red, one coat of clear right on top of each other. What I'll do is let it get dry to the touch. It's not dry to the touch yet. Obviously give it a couple hours to dry. And then I'll rebalance it. Gorham with Gorhams. You can see, I don't know if you can really see the reflection here. You can see, let me see if I can do this up on a macro lens anyway. You can actually see the undercamber in here. If you look, let's see from this angle, maybe you can really get a look at it, I don't know. Yeah, you can't really see it in this angle. You can see how thin it is at the tip, though. Now, what's annoying more than anything else is how much time I had put into the prop that was on the plane when it went in. I probably had about 4 or 5 hours into that prop. Typically, it's about 3 hours to do one of these props. Well, the next thing is to load up the car, and we'll get up to the Mass Cup, see if we can get some footage of Midgley and the gang. It's raining down here, so I hope it's going to be nicer up there. Totally repaired. Oh, hard to believe, huh? The only tip-off is now, if you want to look at what the before pictures of the after, is the canopy gives it away when it was repaired. Fuselage has been shortened, rudder's been shortened. We put a lot of this footage on a repair video, so if you ever have a crash, you'll have access to this information. Now today, another rainy day. What I want to show, and I don't know if I've ever shown this, these are uprights for horns. They're stamped out of, mild steel with a punch press, so that each one is completely the same. You can always depend on having accurate one-to-one controls. What we're going to do is make up some sets of horns now, and these horns are going to be going into experimental pattern masters that are going to be built in the next year. Jim has been running the ratio of 4 to 5. 4, and we've gone over this in the previous video. And what I did it off camera because it's kind of time consuming, is I took and made up a pattern for my uprights for the 4 to 5 control system. And what that'll allow me to do is I'll have the dimension here exactly accurate, so everyone will be exactly the same, and I'll make up some horns today. I need them for my own plane, Jim Borelli's, Bob Lampione's, 2 or 3 other people that'll be building pattern masters with the 4 to 5 hookup. It's important, if you're going to do this, to do it with a micrometer. It's important to get everything on center, and it's important to get good silver brazed joints. So, and I would suggest, no matter what plane you use, 1/8 inch horns, especially after seeing how Lampione's horn self-destructed in that crash, and how the crash of Tsunami, nothing happened. So I guess there's a message there somewhere. Anyway, first step is I'm going to get some mild steel, make up the uprights. The uprights for the elevators will stay exactly the same as the normal horns, but the ones for the flaps will change. Now once you have a real accurate pattern made up, and you've checked it with a micrometer, and it's also important that you have all 3 of the holes in complete alignment. So what I've done is I've taken this off a pattern that I had for previous horns that keeps it right in the middle, and I've checked all the dimensions with a micrometer. Now you want to transpose the pattern onto the master. Now to do this and get it real accurate, if you have a Bridgeport handy, of course it makes it a lot easier, but in this case you can take the template, the pattern, whatever you want to call it, and attach it with vice grips. That's another good way of doing it. So now what you've done to maintain integrity, you can use a dowel pin to make sure you have complete alignment, and that'll hold it in alignment. And now it's just a question of drilling out the holes as you need them. And what you'll have is a master and then a pattern master. From the master you'll make up several patterns so that each one will be exactly the same. If you just go do this by eye or by drawing lines on things and the holes don't line up in the middle and then the uprights aren't off 90, you can wind up with all kind of exponential controls. This part of the job is very important to do accurately. That's why we paid to have a die made for the punch press and check that everyone is in good alignment, and when we braze them, we're going to silver braze them, we'll make sure we have a 90-degree turn onto the bent part of the wire. And of course, 1/8 inch music wire only. We're using a 120 size drill, which is a press fit for the bushings that we're going to press in here. And we can sight now to see that we have nice clean holes. They're right on center. Now when you think about a horn costing $10, just think about how much work actually goes into to manufacturing one, and it all kind of makes sense. Especially if you want accurate quality stuff. Now the next step is, you see we've clamped with vice grips one of our template patterns with a radius around here, around the hole, made sure the holes line up with a dowel pin, and now we can grind around the edge and get that radius on there with the grindstone. And of course then we'll reverse it, do both sides, and we'll have that nice radius. This is just extra weight that if you didn't grind it off would go along for the ride. Yeah, here we have the elevator horn up right now. This is the one that's from a pattern for 1-to-1 controls. And here you have the one that's for 4-to-5 controls. So we have all three available now. We can just go out and make as many of these as we need. If anybody else needs 4-to-5 horns, please let me know as soon in the season as possible. I like to make up a couple dozen of these, and each time I make them, saves a lot of wear and tear on the equipment having a setup for a special set of horns. Okay, we're ready to start bending up the wires now and get ready to get the brazing torch out and get ready to solder these up. Now the next step is to take a horn that we know the width is the way we want, and of course part of the thing we do, if you buy horns that aren't bent, what a pain in the ass, no shit. So what we're going to do is, the elevator horn need not be as wide. That kills off some unnecessary weight. And what we need to do is figure out the length of the wire here. Take a piece of wire and just do a walk around measurement. Figure out roughly where it is, and we'll cut up a couple dozen pieces of wire. Use a parting wheel. Now we'll make up a couple dozen wires all at once, and then we'll dress off the ends on a grindstone nice. Now one thing you want to make sure you do if you make your own horns is use real music wire. Don't use drill rod, don't use mild steel. In the days of doing these experiments, in the very beginning of making horns, we made some out of drill rod, no good. Made some out of mild steel, not strong enough. You save yourself a lot of little work on the pitfalls of making your own horns. Now this, you've probably seen this before. This is our little bending jig. We know the length of the leg we want, and if in doubt you can always make them a little longer. I made this little fixture myself because we make hundreds of horns a year. Can't have it that you bend it. You're not going to bend these with pliers or vice grips or anything. The whole idea of 1/8-inch horns is once they're bent, they're permanent. You don't get to play tweaky poo, and you don't get every time you wipe the plant, whoop, the trim just changed, uh-oh. And if you crash, like Bobby did, you don't lose the whole alignment of the plane. Everything has some integrity. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'll mark the end of this. So now this'll give me all the legs the same length. Now, because the wire gets drawn in, I have to allow roughly 1/4 inch for each bend. So I'll use the second mark. And by using that same mark, now I get every one. I just try to get these even. I'll finalize them with a vise later. And I get two 90-degree bends. Now if I sight down it, I can see they're kind of like this. They have to be put in a vise and zeroed out before we weld the upright on. And I've tried to do this with, boy, believe me, every possible kind of a vice grip plier and pliers and stuff. There's just no realistic way you can bend horns realistically. And because no matter how you bend them, you usually get a little bit of an unevenness in them. What I do is I put one end in a vise. Just take a pair of vice grips or a wrench of some kind and keep giving a little tweak back and forth. If possible, you don't want to bend it any more than you really have to. And of course the final little adjustment you put in, because the flaps, you never really get this in the flap exactly even. You always want to sight down the wing at the very end and make sure you have them dead nuts on. Then the other thing we'll check is we'll get a 90-degree triangle and see if we have pretty much 90-degree bends. Usually because they come out of a fixture, they're all pretty accurate. They're not way off. But if they are, just require a little tweak. Want to make sure this bend, so when you slide the flap tube on, you don't have it that everything is cocked to one side. Now one of the things we did when Joe Kay and I engineered up all the tooling for these, and Joe basically did all the heavy duty stuff, we tried several different ways of welding horns. The first choice was we had somebody that was a professional welder do them with welding rod, brazing rod. We even had a guy do one atomic welded. I don't even know what that is, but he brought it back. And then we tried to break them and see which was the strongest. And the strongest way that we found to make that joint is with a material called silver braze. That's very, very expensive. It's right now I think it's over $40 an ounce. And very expensive. It requires a special flux. You can weld it with acetylene or MAP gas. But now the trick is with welding horns, the trick is not to get the wire so hot. If you get the wire too hot, the wire becomes very soft and flexible. Now, that may be an advantage if you want to tweak horns. You can make this wire relatively soft. But in my case, I want the horns hard. I don't want to have that thing where every time you wipe off the plane you need a flap tweak. So I've chosen to go with the silver braze system, and that leaves the wire relatively stiff relative to if you do a braze joint or a weld joint. And what I've tried to do is, after I get these done, is try several different ways. Put them in a vise and break them, twist them, and usually the wire will break before the joint. So I feel real good about the fact that we have never had one of these break in service. But that's a pretty, I don't even know how to say it, pretty high-tech way of doing it, is just make the parts and see where they fail. Kind of a basic Stone Age way of doing it, but it works every time. Now we're ready to flux these up. All the wires are 90 degrees off. We're ready to flux them up and get the uprights on and in position for the brazing operation. Now one of the things you want when you get the fit on here, and it's kind of you get your hands really chewed up doing this, is a nice tight fit. You don't want to have a sloppy fit before you do the braze joint. You want to get a relatively tight fit where that stays on. It's not a sloppy deal. And what that means is we have a little bit of undersize on a hole. We really have to force it on. It's really tough on your hands to do that, but we get a nice tight fit that way. Now we have the flux mixed to a consistency of water for this particular job using MAP gas. And I want to just test the wire to see when we're at the point when the solder will melt. I don't want to get the wire any hotter than it has to be for this job. Now the trick is to just draw the flux right through the horn, draw the solder right through the horn. Don't get it any hotter than it has to be. And let it cool. Don't try to pre-cool it in water or anything. Now one good trick that Craig Gunder showed me years ago, and it works super well, when you silver braze, after the part's cooled, stick them in a pail of water for an hour or so, or whatever time, rattle them around, and what it does, it gets all the glass-like flux particles off. So if you have them plated or cleaned or wire brushed, whatever the case is, it saves you a lot of hand labor getting the flux off. And that flux is almost impossible to get off by hand without a chip hammer. This way really works. Craig Gunder, the tip of the month play. Right, the horns are all brazed up, and these are the bushings that I use. They're Stimson bushings, and they come in two separate sizes. One size is if you want no slop in the controls, and it's a tight fit on a 3/32 wire. And the other box of bushings is for a slop fit when you don't want to have to drill out to 1/8 inch. So we have both choices here. We can make them up either way. These get pressed in with a Stimson press. I'm going to do that outside because it's raining. I don't want to get the camera wet. Now with the bushings all pressed in, I kind of wire brushed these down a little bit. Now normally I would send these out to be plated, but there's a minimum plating charge, and for 6 sets of horns it doesn't really pay. The cost of the horns would be doubled. So I'll just tell all the customers, if you want, you could soak a little WD-40 on these to keep them from rusting until you actually use them. And I suggest, although I don't do it at the factory here at the shop, silver soldering with Stay Bright. Silver solder the bushings in on both sides. Not everybody wants that done because it does add a little bit of weight, but I suggest doing that. And I don't put on the little flappers on the horns either, because some people like to use the nylon, some people like to use the tin, brass, whatever. There's no point making it, and half the people throw it away. So the next thing is I'll just package up little sets of controls, and this will be a 4:5 ratio control set. What I do is, in the totally pro stunt way we do it, we have a nice plastic bag and a nice label, a professional Midgley label, and we can make those sets up. And we'll have them for sale up at the Mass Cup. Here they are all bagged up. Now that's, believe me when I tell you, this is a good day's work to make up these horns, get everything soldered, brazed, wire brushed down. And I hope, you know, from seeing this, you can have a little bit of appreciation, a little bit anyway, of just how much work goes into making a $10 horn. If you go to make one up yourself and you have any questions, please call me up. Don't go and make them. Don't try to Stay Bright solder the main joint. Don't try to make them without bushings. I'll be glad to help you if you need any help figuring out some special horns or you want to do it yourself. Please ask for my advice. Done a lot of them. Been real lucky and never had one fail yet. Saturday, nostalgia meet here at the Mass Cup. We got 4 people who fly Woody's T-Bird, including Suarez and Dave and myself. And we have a real shootout going over in nostalgia over there. Trying to do some trim work on Dave's plane here. We got the Tsunami's backup prop on here now. Did some trim work, made up a handle this morning. Fixed Jimmy Borelli's fuel pickup. Jimmy flew into a tie down here. Waiting for his fuel thing to dry right now. His fuel exit
Wish
tube.
I brought my light bulb collection. I could show you.
All set to go, huh, Jimmy?
Huh? Walt Praise stuff?
We're over there. But, huh?
Gonna be up here pretty.
Put some chow later. A male strip. Jimmy, where'd the women say they were going to bring us lunch?
They didn't. I didn't ask.
Oh, sandwiches, burgers? Haiti, yeah.
Going to Haiti.
Yeah, right. Well, we may or may not get some lunch. The women looked a little annoyed when they left. They had revenge on him. Maybe they found a male nude strip bar or something.
Some stores.
Some shopping. Credit card meltdown. Jimmy Borelli, first semi-official practice flight with the new pickup tube on the fuselage. Major modification here. Going for the 4 to 5 control system next year. Gonna whip Mike Rogers' ass. The Borelli boy. Big Al would be proud. Boy, I can smell that jet fuel. Holy mackerel. All those big transports just went by. You could smell the kerosene or whatever they burn. Tom, what do those big things burn? Kerosene?
Yeah, it's more
Yes.
like fuel oil.
Fuel oil.
JP4 they call it.
Wow. You can smell it over here. Oh, they must be running with the choke on or something. Getting too close? Who's up over there in nostalgia now? Woody? All right, then we've got 3 or 4 more to go and we'll be over there. All right, we'll get the rest of Jimmy's flight on tape here and then we'll whizzle over to the Thunderbird nostalgia meet.
I think we're going to be totally up in here.
What are they doing? They bringing one of those jets around? You can see from the ominous sky, you don't know if it's going to rain. It's going to be hot, not so hot, hot to trot, or not to trot. What is the, uh-oh, low bottom edge. Oh, Jimmy, baby, low bottom. Oh, low bottom. Debbie, get on his case. Give him a spanking. We do not want to repair any more planes. They're all repaired out. Oh, I smell burgers. Are the bad girls here? The burger girls are here. A nice combination of jet fuel and hamburgers going on in my nose here. One nostril's full of jet fuel, one's full of Burger King or whatever they went for. McDougal burgers.
extended out the front.
We signed Suarez up. He's over flying now. There's a four-way tie for Suarezville here. A one-way trip to Palookaville in nostalgia here. 12 nostalgia entries, a world record here. Yeah, Woody, don't crash.
Shut that off. I'm going away. I'm going away.
Where'd you guys go, to Burger King? Burger King, Burger King, Burger King.
Go away.
Hey, hey, hey.
That's her chair. I gotta sit
Her
on
chair. Now if I go to sit down, boom.
Come sit down on the grass.
All right, time to eat.
I gotta
Break
feed my
time.
husband. Go get his plane.
Somebody get Borelli's plane. And working with Dave today, we tried basically the props that we were using on the on Tsunami. Tsunami's over there somewhere. Hey, Tsunami. Hello, Tsunami. Anyway, Debbie, I know you'll love that. We got the AHM cut to, it's on this flight right here. He's trying out 12.3 diameter, 4 inches of pitch. He backed out on a needle, I believe. I'll have to see what the lap time is when we look at this. But we don't have this spinner yet fit for this plane. I had the one I brought up was the wrong size, so. All right, so we'll get to do some pride. The weather, by the way, is just a great day, just beautiful. The plane affectionately known as the Dog. The Neon Dog. The Neon Doberman. Now, since the last time we photographed this, Dave put a new pipe in. I'm doing some work with the trim tabs. Hopefully have the vertical CG a little more accurate. I know we put the light wheels on before, try to correct for that. I got a couple of flights on it to give them some feedback, but the biggest improvement came from the handle, making the handle smaller. Handle looks like it's a lot closer to being right than it was early in the day. Now, when I give Dave his copy of this tape, he can look back at the lap times, but they look about 5.2, 5.3 to me. This is absolutely stun heaven air here. It's almost too good to be true. It's cool. It looked like it may rain all day, but it never rained. And it's about 3:30 now, so I guess we're going to get the rest of the day. We'll hopefully have the traditional P.J. Scott banquet tonight. All the people that are here a day early. The results of the nostalgia meet that Bill Suarez first, nosing out all of the competitors with a fantastic flight, a flight never to be forgotten. Tom Niebuhr got a rich run on his last run and ran out of gas. It was a 3 or a 4-way tie for first, I don't even know, going into the last round. And we all had fun flying Woody Midgley's plane, so hey, I don't think you can have more fun than we had this afternoon. It was good. Congratulations to Bill Suarez, the dominant flyer in the Thunderbird Everybody Flies the Same Plane contest. He got caught changing the needle valve, though. It's really not a good thing to say, but he did get caught. You weren't supposed to touch the needle, and unfortunately he did get caught, but we forgive him. We don't want a lawsuit, that's the reason. Debbie Borelli's on thigh patrol here, checking out the men in shorts. She thinks Waldo Cargill's got a little bit nicer legs than me. Joe Ortiz was here before. I think they went back to the motel room to do some quality time. But we got a nice crowd. Ron the General's here. And we should have 3.5 hours of stun heaven practice. Get to fly each other's planes, get some feedback, some practice. Get all tuned up for tomorrow. Oh, sounds like we're running out of gas here. Uh-oh, there you go. The out of gas special here. If you've never been here before, we're on the Nats site. We held the Nats here before on Westover Air Force Base. And these big buzzards have been flying in and out all day. With the smell of kerosene and who knows what, they go in and out of here all day.
The answer.
Or you can just go in a click too.
What about changing the propeller?
Yeah, you can do that, but then you're going to have more speed up. It's going to get faster at the end of the flight.
Happened to Dick Wilsey. Stood up there, put the wrong fuel on his airplane. That's why it didn't do one right.
Does he got 5%? Does Woolsey have 5%?
Well, he was flying a Fox. And the didn't have enough oil in it.
Oh, well, Fox.
That was what he had
Yeah.
for something else.
Yeah, they're not forgiving.
And he forgot.
No. Foxes, you always want to use a fuel
Woody, where's
special
that
for them.
spinner?
Huh? In the black box. In my box on the ground there.
When that to work, in other words, when everything else was right.
Yeah.
But
One
that
sec.
thing,
On the 6-shooter, so it's probably
Doug.
only running 3.5.
Doug, take your hat off. I want to do an interview at the end of this tape. Jimmy made up a song for you. How bald men enjoy life more.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
So I'm going to splice it in somewhere in the tape here.
It's from all the U-turns under the sheet. Actually, it's from my children, you know.
Yeah, they're making me bald.
One hair comes out.
Carlo, show us your wig. Take that wig off.
what week?
What wig?
No,
Ah!
I won't do that for, not even for you I'll do that.
That's crazy glue there, people.
God created but a few perfect heads. The rest he added here.
See, that's
You want to try that 12.4? I'll dig out that 12.4. Repair ready for a test flight. Ready, willing, and able.
light and tell me where I can get a couple points more?
Let me videotape it. You go next and I'll videotape it. This is the man who generously donated his Thunderbird to our nostalgic Thunderbird meet of the day. The Midge Man. What a day, huh? An unbelievable day. The kind of day I wish it was 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh, it's gonna. I hope it is. What's Beldar doing over here? Oh, Beldar's getting in the flight line. Lenny! Woody Midgley, launching for Beldar. Another member of the Hair Club for Men, Beldar Pawlinski. Hey, get away from those thighs, Debbie. That gotta be Debbie. Ah! I see a crack. I see a crack. I see a crack. I see a crack! Just can't have any fun at these meets. It's terrible. Connor's on the back circle. And Harding on the front circle. Check this out. Dueling banjos. Dueling Pawlinskis.
Had a good time. You are fine, Coach.
Hey, Leonard! Woo!
Next year I'm going to hit the
I felt a female hand on my tush, Jimmy, and I can't account for which woman it was. Maybe it was Mitchell.
Yeah, let's tell him the difference. Come here, Winnie.
Yeah, get away, get away! Get away from... Get away, you get my camera all out of focus. I'm taking pictures of the moon here. Oh, these women are so bad. I can't believe it.
You didn't have your camera out.
That's what I said. She missed
Hey,
it.
Tom, I was he's in my way. Swallow that lollipop. I have enough trouble getting myself up, much less him, too.
Debbie, is there anything else you want to say on this tape before I mail out 40 copies Monday morning?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
If I don't say something, I'm going to
You women just control yourself. My tush is private property. Private Karen property. Hey! I swear to God, I'm going to get even with you guys. Guess which one of these women had their hand on my tush? Come on, own up to it.
Okay, I'm
Hi, hey! What fun is that? Where's Debbie Burrell? They're guilty, 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 guilty.
Which hand?
Guilty, guilty. Helen, who was it?
I'm not saying.
I'm not saying.
That's the truth. It was Donnie.
Oh, man, never fly where there's a group of women. Don't ever bend over in front of these women. It's dangerous. The Tush Patrol. Debbie Borelli's Tush Patrol. Oh, you got paybacks or a bitch, I'm telling you. Forget your husband. I like you better. You think your husband would pat my behind? Forget it. People just can't take a joke on this field. Tweaking my needle valve. Massachusetts SWAT team. Who bought you that, Ron?
Yeah.
Oh my God. We had a great T-shirt contest at Middlesex.
They're all in there.
Try to give Carlos a little critique of his flight here. He's having a lot of problems. Had too much beer last night, not enough food. Then he tried to wreck his car on the way up here. Wife was screaming, had to post bail. Told the cops, no, I know Wendy Artnowski. So they put him in cuffs and took him away. The Prowler, the top man on the Portuguese stunt team, Carlos Serra.
Yeah, right.
All right, well, let's get a critique here.
This engine didn't have much power, so I had to go for a bigger Venturi,
Was that an FP?
an FP. Now with the bigger Venturi, I gotta run it a little too hard in order to get 5 minutes.
Oh, put an air filter on it. Put one of those little green air filters on it. That'll kill it. Using 5% fuel or 10?
I'm using 5.
5?
10. 10. Well, I had 5%, but the choice is, yes, I can use 5, but then I'm back to square one. The plane just doesn't have power to go.
How much does a plane weigh?
Ton.
A
46
ton?
ounces,
1
46
ton.
ounces.
How much?
46.
Holy my God, my van doesn't weigh 46.
I know.
Go ahead, I'll put the camera down and watch your flight. Nah, seriously, now Carlos really did almost have an accident on the way up here. He showed up at the field, he was white in the face from fear, he almost whacked the guy. Alright, I'll do the critique on the video, Carlos, and then I'll pass a copy on to you next week when you come down the house. So we'll do this, we'll share this critique with the whole world. I think we're going to be flying into the sun. Okay, takeoff looks pretty decent. I'm looking at it out of one eye and video out of the other eye. I don't know how accurate this is going to be. level flight looks pretty nice. Gotta do 5 laps. No good. High pull out. Okay, gotta do 5 laps before you pull up into the wing over. That's number 1, fellas. Always remember that. Pass the judges 5 times. Let's get back so we can do some geometry here. If anything, the loops look about 55 degrees, maybe a little more. You want to try to make the round loops, if you're assuming you can make the square ones a little smaller. Inverted level flight. Looks a bit on the high side. I'd say it's 2 feet higher than right side up flight, but I know you just learned inverted a short while ago, so you can eliminate that one. Make sure you always give them 6 laps of inverted flight. These are probably things that apply to all intermediate flyers. Now that looks back in gel. High pull out. This looks 70 degrees. Very high and a very high pull out. First thing you want to work on is try to get these loops smaller. Before you even work on the shape, get the loops smaller. And as the sun fades away here, we have just had one hell of a day. Now these are cigarette boxes. They're longer and taller than they are wide. Picture what a cigarette box looks like. What you want to do is make them shorter this way and longer width-wise. Let's get with the outsides. A high start, a high pull-out. Now they're very short. See the cigarette boxes. Critique number 2. Carlos is an intermediate flyer, so this is not like critiquing Paul Walker. Triangles are flat. They should have more of an angle this way. It seems like they're too flat, at least to my look. Okay, this looks big. Overturn that side. These look like eggs. They look like they're higher than they are wide. And we'll go over this after the flight is over. Try to critique that much of it anyway. Even sometimes a small, pointing somebody in a direction, trying to walk over to get that sun out of the lens, can be a big help. Now let's see if he still does cigarette boxes. High, very high and short. High and short. Could make them a little bit longer and a little bit lower to the ground. And of course on any intermediate you're not worried about bottoms right. I just try to get the maneuver shape right. In time the bottoms come automatically. Going behind your head just a little bit again. The number 1 critique so far, in my book anyway, would be try to make the whole flight a little bit smaller. Work on making the whole flight smaller. That was a nice maneuver. Again, you went back behind your head a little too far, but that's okay. You didn't take enough laps before you need to take that extra lap. I don't want to shoot into the sun here, so I'm going to kind of miss half of this maneuver. Let them fly out or I'll hit the sun. Okay, you damage a VCR when you shoot into the sun. That's what I've been told anyway. We're probably at the end of our video shooting here because we're getting its battery light and we only have the 1 battery on charge. So we'll get to the end of the flight. Okay, so the critique is 5 laps you pass the judge, an extra lap before the overhead 8, make all the maneuvers smaller, bring them down in size, and widen them up for some symmetry. Now, other than that, I'd say, hey, that's a real big improvement over the last couple of weeks.
Now, what he just had happen, it's called a ground loop. The plane points in at you. What you do is when you land on the ground and you're trying to hold the tail wheel up, just step back ever so slightly and hold tension on the lines until it stops moving. As soon as you release tension, it'll walk in at you. Okay, hope you can use that critique, and I'll get you a copy of this tape when I send them out to the subscribers. Oh, Sarah. Sunday morning, Mass Cup, Stun Heaven Air. Steve Busso's up here, Tom Never. Looks like we're going to have a good entry. Oh, the weather is great, by the way. Really nice. Tom Never's got the first official flight with the Falcon. Had the great fly-off yesterday. Flores won the fly-off. Didn't deserve it, but won anyway. Anyway, caught him adjusting the needle valve. Against the rules. Midgley's been working on his plane. Hopefully got a lot of the trim problems sorted out that he was working on. Got some of the Tsunami props in his toolbox now without paying for them. One thing Dave has learned to do is steal my props. And we're going to be working with props Thursday and Friday of next week. These are props that seem to work well on a 51, on a 62. It's cloudy and overcast, so I just hope it stays nice. But you never can tell. The dog. Debbie Borelli has her hands all cleaned up and ready to pinch my behind again today. Now, several of the things Dave has tried on this plane, altering the trim tabs, and he's used clear lucite to make trim tabs. That's a nice touch. You don't really see them even in flight here. Extended the rudder area with a clear lucite tab. But it looks like the big two-blade is the prop here of choice. I don't know how he feels. We'll ask him after this flight. The two-blade is outperforming a three-blade in my estimation on this plane anyway. As we always do, we'll try to get a little bit of everybody's plane and maybe even everybody a little bit of flying that we possibly can. We're always limited by the amount of time we're not helping somebody or flying or sitting in the bathroom, really. But this looks like it'll be a real productive day for a lot of people. Here's where Dave was having a little funny. It looks like it's gone now. In fact, it looks better than my plane. Shouldn't cost him any points there. Top of the hourglass was kind of funky on this, and some spots on the square 8 were a little funky. It looks like the tabs have taken care of that. He probably want, depending on if he runs out of fuel, he might want to go out a quick. This looks like it could go slower even. Nice dinner at PJ Scott's. Had 19 or 20 people there. It was really a blast. So looking forward to a good day. Rick's here, Eric Jensen. Nice turnout today. Good turnout. Jimmy Borelli, first official. First official. Looks like we have a little change of direction in air here. We took all the lunch breaks and we got some sandwiches. And
come back and the air's in a different spot here. I hope we don't get a break in this flight here. I see the battery light coming on. I hope it holds to the end. Don't want to break the pattern for James. Debbie will grab me even more than she does. Terrible. Anyway, next week is Flushing. Looking forward to Flushing. A couple of days of prop testing with Dave and Woody, if they can get down. Maybe in the afternoon at Middlesex with Carlos. We just have to play it by ear, see how the weather's working. I'm going to try to do a chimney repair next week. So one day I'll be with George on a chimney, and the rest we hope we can hopefully get some flying in before Flushing, and then on the Saturday practice and Sunday the contest. And then it'll be 2 weeks to the next Circle Burner meet, and that'll close out our local contest season. Get the body movements here on the four-leaf clover. Rocket Rick Campbell checking out the scenery here with his tune pipe. Rick, I guess as everybody knows by now, is in the custard and yogurt business. So we expect to see him building all winter when nobody's eating yogurt, and not flying all summer when everybody's flying. It's the worst of all worlds, Rick. Should have bought a ski resort. Anyway, the first round is over, and Jim Borelli is in a solid third place, trouncing the troops, completely dominating the expert event. Ladies and gentlemen, you just watch this Borelli with the support of Debbie. How can he go wrong? He'll invade Poland next week. Steve Busso giving Bob Lampione a few pointers on being politically correct. Not letting your underwear show through the white pants, Bobby. We could see the pink shirt through the white pants. This on Go-Go Girls is okay, Bob, but unacceptable on 200-pound gorillas. Got some action on the back circle here. Turned out to be a beautiful day, nice stunt heaven air. And next year we'll have the meet on a nicer part of the Air Force Base. They were painting this guy camouflage this morning. On a nicer part, the back circle's going again. We're getting ready to start the second round of expert here. Midgley's over here wearing a circle out, practicing. Oh my God, Arthur Godfrey. Is this guy a tobacco farmer or what? Check this guy out. Hey, Bill. You like Super Tiger 60s?
Nice airplane.
You like Super Tiger 60s?
Yeah, they're working out real good. Those props.
Working good? Props work good?
Shut that thing off. It's time to go to work.
Let's go to work.
I'm not paying you all this money for you to stand around shooting video.
Dave Midgley, second official flight. Flying the second round in reverse order. Made some prop changes, some trim changes to get the lap times down and the maneuver speed down here. And it's been one, I guess, real productive weekend for Dave. He's got an awful lot done. And I'm sure the big thing is he'll pass on the knowledge that he's learned and that we've all learned from each other. Passing the knowledge on is certainly one of my goals anyway. And having said that, I hope we'll all be flying real cool looking planes and be able to fly them well and have real contests where it's real close and we're battling down to the wire and we all get the same air and all the judges love us. Now, Joe Ortiz is going to try to line up all the flyers at the end of the flight. Fight a bomber over there, the big C-5A, where is it, over there, and get a nice group shot. So I guess if anybody's interested in a copy of that group shot, and I am, we'll get a hold of Joey and make him pay for it, and then we'll take it for nothing, as we usually do. Now this is actually, in one weekend, we've gotten a lot of trim on this plane. In the past, we've only had half days and third days, and disappointing air to play with. This looks like it is flying as good as, at least as good as Dave's ever flown it. And we've had some kinks that had to be worked out. Tried several approaches to working them out. This is a Zinger 12.4 on a 51. Dave prefers the braided lines. I got to fly this plane yesterday a couple of times, and it certainly is head and shoulders better than it was when we started trimming it. And that was maybe a year ago. That was at the team, right after the team trials. And as we look back over the video, when Dave is down my house, we can dig out some of the videos of earlier this year flying his yellow plane and played them back to back. Get a look at the improvements in his flying style and the trim of the plane. Dave's got a handle, one of my old handles on it with the arms cut very short, and that's something I would suggest everybody try. For more power steering feel, take a 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch off the arms of the handle. Short arms will always equal a power steering feel. Allow you to run a little more nose heaviness, and you can still bang a corner. There's a performance gain to be had in the length of the arms. And as I've had 3 or 4 flights today to trim Tsunami, get him back into trim. He was more tail heavy, and I did put a nose weight in to compensate. And when I had crashed and there was some solder on a tail wheel, I really had the CG far back, and it was not appropriate for these conditions. So I got the CG back to where it normally would be. The nose weight's in. The handle arms are short, and we flew the first flight on braided. The second flight will fly on solids.
He's first. This is his Mass Cup flight.
All right.
After the second round, he was in first. He had a 566 or something, 560.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Suarez had a 540, Windy had a 560. So this is his Mass Cup flight.
Gotcha. Okay. Two of the guys in the Mass Cup are going to be flying airplanes that were pieces a couple days ago.
Who's the other guy?
John Duncan in Intermediate.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Literally glued together last night. The 5 ounces of epoxy on it.
Windy, I'm purposely leaving this thing level so you can see when you fly out of the screen.
Okay, Bill Suarez taking a flight on Tsunami. Bill finished second. I won expert, but it doesn't look hopeful for the Mass Cup. It's in the middle of my flight. There was a little bit, you saw it on video, there's a little bit of an air change, and did not handle it well would be a pleasant way of putting it. So Bill's going to get, well, actually we're going to get a bunch of guys to get some flights here. Campbell's waiting in line, Midgley, maybe even Busso, who knows. Get some feedback. Always can learn something and see what you can put into next year's plane. basically the same design that Bill flies, not a whole lot different anyway. And Bill's plane really does look 1,000% better with the wheel pans. I have to give him credit. I know what a pain in the neck is to make extra wheel pans. Ah. And certainly Billy has to be one of the most talented people ever that I've seen for picking up a handle for somebody else's plane and just slamming in a wing over the line. One of the best, Bill Suarez, and definitely one of the best friends you'll ever have in the world of stunt. Put him right up there with all the guys from Flushing, the Borellis, the Lampiones, the Poblinskis, the Ortizes, the Miotas, Kazi Minota, Lenny Miota, who the hell knows who they are? Who cares? So we have had a day. It's been wonderful. It's been fun. And winning expert, of course, has been a thrill always. The advanced and the advanced, let's see who else has to fly. The advanced and the intermediate still have flights to better their scores. They haven't done that yet, but I'm sure my score went down. But sometimes it works out that the person who goes down the least wins. So, anyway, we're going to try to get the Mast Cup replated. We're taking up a little collection to replate the Mast Cup. Doesn't look like Billy's uncomfortable at all flying this guy. I don't know. But then he's not uncomfortable flying a 52 Chevy, is he? You know how these Harley owners are. And this is the reason we did the repair on it and fixed it so that we could really get as many people to fly it, give us the input, give us feedback for future reference, so that maybe next year's plane will be a little better, or we'll get a little more performance, or a little more reliability, or both, hopefully. And you can feel the feeling in the air of people enjoying a good time here, and no bad politics, no bad feelings here at these local meets. Everybody seems to be having a good time, and I really have to say Karen's even had a good time today. Go home to the dollies today. Go pat the dollies on the behind. Joe's going to take that nice group picture. Anybody wants one for Ortiz, they'll probably send it to you for the price of a watermelon. This is one of the parts of local contests that I really enjoy, is when they're over and you can share the experience of flying each other's planes. Steve Busso let me fly his last year, and maybe we can get to return the favor this time. Steve is one of those guys that's working his way right up the ladder. Borelli's blowing him away. He's just sprinting ahead of everybody. Midgley's coming on strong. We're going to have two more great, I hope, really interesting contests. Either a chicken got goose behind me or something. Something happened behind me anyway. We did some work with Carlos Serra this week, and he's coming along in intermediate. My friend Brian Kiefer did not make the contest, but we look forward to seeing him next weekend at Flushing. Tsunami lives. 1994, what a year. Crash and all. practice flight here after the meet on Tsunami.
Let me do it,
Next up in the Fly Tsunami, Fly Tsunami for a hamburger contest is Rick Campbell, flying Tsunami. The man who swore up and down he'd never fly a 60 ship, flying it might crash it. There it goes, wing over pull out right in. The Borelli is next, Lampione is next. We got a lineup here, the Fly Tsunami contest. Anyway, all part of having some fun. End of the season, we got a plane that's been repaired extensively, and now we can really enjoy the whole meaning of life. Yeah, Rick's in some dead air here anyway. Will Suarez flying Midgley's Carnivorous Carnivore. Just testament to the fact that Bill can fly anything. He's going to put a handle on my van later and do a stunt pattern with it. Bill Suarez. Over in the other circle, Campbell getting lower and lower on every bottom with Tsunami. Come on, Rick, man. Doug Cook taking a flight on Tsunami. Can we find it? A little difficult to follow when they're not doing a stunt anyway. Bob Lampione, the man we love to laugh and criticize and have a good time with, flying Tsunami, trying to keep from crashing it. Bobby Provolone. get solid lines, not to do too many insides or outsides. You got to do a stunt pattern, Bob. Well, don't forget, you got solid lines on it. You know, you get like, if you do insides, do outsides. You know.
Once I, you know, lay it over back and forth.
Borelli's next, and then you, Waldo. And then they got to mail Campbell his handle back. Now I can picture when Bobby lands. You know what he's going to say, Waldo? Oh, it pulled my arm off. Oh my God, it pulls like a truck. Oh my God. Cargill. Hey, Borelli, how do you like those legs, Debbie?
Oh, Wendy, they're almost as nice as yours.
Okay, Waldo's taking a flight on Tsunami. Still have a couple. Believe it or not, Borelli backed out of the Tsunami Challenge. Wife wouldn't let him fly it. She said he's too cute as he is.
If it stops in this air. No.
Science.
I think that'll be safe.
Squash!
We're here.
Oh, what happened over here? What happened? Somebody got squashed?
Nope, it blew up.
It blew up?
Yeah.
Was it like a firecracker? It blew up. What do you mean blew up?
Hey, go look.
Don't tell her. Tell her it's on the side of the road.
Tabulators. We got a contest coming up, next week in Flushing? Joe, what are you running in Flushing?
Everything.
Everything. Wife swapping? Everything. Who do I get? Who gets me?
Pictures after the session is over.
Everybody.
I want to thank Joe Bucci for helping me set up the...
Karen might not go for that. Hey!
Okay, let's get right to it here. You all guys want to get out of here. The ladies too.
Get the pry it out of his hand.
Let's go in the first ringer stunt.
Yeah.
It's classic.
Ringer stunt. That means that somebody that ducks in a classic stunt contest with somebody else's airplane.
Meatball.
Phil Swan.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
Wendy Erdnowski.
Boo! Oh! Boo!
Dave Midgley. Third.
Boo! Another! Oh! Boo! Boo! I protest.
What else?
I'm calling Dave Brown right up here.
All right, let's go into old-time stunt first. Third place, Doug Cook.
Whoa!
Second place, Dick Woolsey.
Whoa!
First place, Jack Petrolia.
Whoa! Come on, Jack!
Third at 52.
Whoa! Take a bow, Jack.
Classic stunt after we cleaned out the ringers.
Oh! I hate that word.
Third place, Earl Midgley.
Hey! T-Bird Earl. T-Bird Earl.
Confiscated.
We want the P-38, Suarez.
Wait a minute, Earl, you got the wrong trophy.
That's a salami sandwich.
Okay, second place, Doug Cook.
Whoa! Whoa, get the wheelbarrow. Cook's here. Ringer, get the wheelbarrow.
First place, Tom Niebuhr.
Hey! Come on, Niebuhr, baby! Give that to John DeTavio. He wants his trophy back. And his money.
Okay, let's go in. And you get... Yeah, I get one trophy.
You get a wheelbarrow if you win more than 3, Dick.
Or if you run out of pockets. Second place, Jack Petrolia.
Hey!
First place, John Duncan.
Hey!
And now in advance. Third place, Ron Connors.
Whoa, the general! The general!
That's getting to be a tight class, boy. Second place, Joe Ortiz.
Whoa! The J Factor. How close was it, Joe?
Joe, your ass is facing the camera.
Nice. Got a nice picture of your ass, Joe. Hey!
And first place, Leon Bowen.
Whoa! Leon.
Now let's get to the experts. First place, third place, Jim Borelli.
Whoa! Borelli!
There you go. Second place, Bill Suarez.
Whoa! Nah, they've been doing this already. He knows.
Thank you.
Speech.
First place, somebody take the camera.
Hey, now I got the camera. I do this all. Thank you. Hey. Thank you. Hey, nice basket. Oh, upside down.
Okay, now we all voted for this. Everybody got the votes in, I hope. If you didn't, tough.
I didn't.
And the guy
just
that takes that
kidding.
and the best aircraft trophy is Dave Midgley.
Whoa! Midgley! Midgley. Ooh! You get to take the baby home too, Dave.
Another mask
No way.
And the guy that gets the mask up's got to polish it.
Mandatory.
Mandatory.
Wendy did a good job.
And the guy that got it, let's see, Wendy, you got 98% of your score.
Boo!
I guess John Duncan got a little over 100% of your score.
Whoa!
Leon got 102%.
All right, Leon! Yahoo! Have fun polishing it, Leon! Polish it up, baby. Knocks on time. Hey! Knocks on.
I guess we got everything. I'm out of sheet. Thanks, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, Dave. Yay! We want to get a picture of Leon dropping the mass cup. Now we want this on tape, Leon. He has proudly shown how to land inverted today. Let's see the rudder. What was the deal, Lee? You just pulled out inverted? I didn't get that on tape.
Ran out of fuel.
And even with this handicap, managed to pull out a Mass Cup Super victory. Where's the trophy? Okay, there it is. All right, for all posterity, and he says he will polish it. It will not come back like the way Eric Jensen gave it back, a little rusty, full of peanut shells and stuff. Okay, Leon, way to go, guy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Good, congratulations.
Thanks.
You put a
And,
tsunami scoop on it, a rock catcher.
Because Dave says there's something good about cooling the crankcase of the
Yeah,
engine.
can't hurt.
So maybe I'll put that on.
Put that back on, though.
Put the rudder back on.
And everything.
Did I hear somebody say likes the girls, Helen?
Yes, lots of girls.
Where's my wife? I feel hands on my behind again. Ooh, Debbie. Let's hear it, Peggy. What'd you do to my wife? What did you girls do to my wife? Let's hear it, ladies.
Well, let's say this.
Let's hear this on tape.
She now likes to drink rum and cokes.
Uh-oh, you mean I gotta drive home with a person of alcoholic
That's one of her
persuasion?
favorite drinks.
Alcohol.
She gave me a weak one.
Did you held her down and made her drink alcohol?
However, I made him a very light one.
A light one, your ass a light one.
But what she did at the end was on her own accordance, okay?
Debbie, is this
She
true?
took the lime out of the glass and sucked all the lime. So do not, however, blame me. That is the truth.
Oh, you guys are so
So
bad.
much out of me.
So bad. Ah, I don't want to hear it. I have to drive home with her.
Everybody get around with me.
Oh, hey, get the women over here. Come here, get the women. They get her liquored up, and now I got to live with her all night. Come on, Joey, yay! Everybody can touch my behind once. I won't say a word. Ah! Joe, you want to take that picture? Or?
No, we're not.
Oh, you got it.
I don't have enough people.
Oh, my God.
Not a crowd. Forget it, Joe.
That's what they say in Somalia. We don't have enough people.
You guys are not
All right.
stopping for something to eat? I don't want to stop. Do you want to stop?
Look at these bedwetters. You all got my lines all stepped on? Look at this.
We broke them into the ground.
Concourse. Ooh.
Who'd you vote for?
For you idiot. How do you think you won the thing?
Well, Ron told me it was his vote.
Nah, Ron's lie. I counted the votes.
Leave it to Wendy to take credit where credit's not due.
Always gets money when... Well, all the awards for 1994. 2 contests left. Having won all the experts except for the nationals. This is almost like my my pet dream come true, my no-hitter here. Anyway, 2 to go. If we can win those 2, we will have a no-hitter. And hey, again, congratulations to Leon Bowen, winner of the Mass Cup 1994. You wear it well, Leon. Congratulations from all of us. All of the previous winners and all the winners to be. Now, what I'm going to finish this video off with is a little dedication of music to Doug Cook.
All right, Doug, I apologize. Just kidding. Have a great day. Have a good time. What can I tell you? Hey, I'm going bald myself. See you on the next video. And Debbie Borelli, we still love you. I don't care what Jimmy says about you. Don't get my wife drunk anymore. Last night was hell. No more getting Karen drunk. All right, guys. See you on the next video. See you at Flushing.